Hey guys, this is Clinton Jeff from UnleashThePhones.com, and here's a quick look at the Nokia Lumia 710. Now, the Nokia Lumia 710 is basically pitched as the poor man's Lumia 800. It's a little bit more affordable than the Lumia 800. The design, for example, is not as premium. If I were to put the two together, you'd see that the design of the 800 is so much better. It's a lot more glass. It's a lot more premium feeling than the 710. The 710 though is a lot lighter than the 800, but it is more plasticky compared to this. And this uses an AMOLED clear black display, but here we have an LCD clear black display, which is a little bit different when you put the two together. But yeah, so it's not in the same league when it comes to design, but it's definitely not an ugly phone because it looks more traditional, but it is quite sweet. I like the little curved edges here. I don't know, there's something that I really like about the 710, even more so than the 800. I like the little grill over here, for example. It's very cool. Yeah, so it's a little bit bigger than the 800, but it comes with the same 3.7-inch screen on the front, and instead of touch sensitive keys you have these hard keys right there. It's basically one large physical button that's split into 3 buttons right there. There's the back, the home, and the search key. And yeah, on the side you have volume keys and a dedicated camera key, which comes in very useful. At the top you have the power key right there, the micro USB charging port that's not covered, thankfully, like on the Lumia 800, and the 3.5mm headphone jack. The micro SIM card is something underneath. I don't know if I can remove it right now. There's a little slot for your nail right there, where you can where you can pry the cover off, and underneath this is where the SIM card, right there, the micro SIM card goes. There's no slot for a micro SD card, unfortunately, but that's a limitation on Windows Phone, I imagine. Our review unit came with a blue cover on a white color Lumia 710, but you do get units with a black front and black back cover also. There are actually 5 other colors available, including magenta and the cyan white combination. So yeah, build quality is quite solid. The screen doesn't feel as nice, admittedly, as the 800, but it actually might be due to this. Let me just take that off if I can. Right there. Yeah, it still doesn't feel as nice as the 800, but it's not too bad at all. From a specs point of view, the processor and memory is exactly the same as the Lumia 800. You get a 1.4 GHz processor and 512 MB of RAM, which is basically good enough for Windows Phone 7.5 MHz. Actually quite fast. You don't actually need a dual-core processor in this environment. There are tons of games and tons of apps that are on the Windows Marketplace. Not as many as an Android phone, of course, but it's pretty good. The number of apps is increasing every day, and it's definitely a much better position now than Symbian was when it first started out. Well, first started in the touch atmosphere, at least. Coming to connectivity, you do get Wi-Fi and GPS. What you should note though is that there is only 8 GB of storage on the Lumia 710 versus the 16 GB on the Lumia 800. And like I said before, the screen is LCD versus the AMOLED on the Lumia 800. But it's actually quite good. You won't actually notice unless I put them right next to each other. You can see that picture on the blog. I have done a little bit of a comparison there. And finally, the other difference within the Lumia 800 and the 710 is the camera. We have a 5 megapixel camera here versus an 8 megapixel on the Lumia 800. Now, the biggest difference is of course the screen, but like I said, you won't really notice it in day-to-day use. The viewing angle isn't as great as on the Lumia 800. It isn't as vibrant, but it's definitely better to read in outdoor sunny environments compared to the AMOLED screen because it is LCD. So yeah, that's worth noting. Coming to the camera, let me just start up the camera for you. The camera is actually quite nice. Whoops. Oh, that was strange. The camera is actually quite good. I thought it was actually well, it wasn't as disappointing as the camera on the Lumia 800. For some strange reason, I really like the 710 even more than I like the Lumia 800. I'm not quite sure why, but I do. But the camera results are pretty good. So I guess that's basically it. There's no front-facing camera, but there is a proximity sensor at the front. I guess it comes down to who the Lumia 710 is aiming for. I guess it's appealing towards those who are looking for an affordable mid-range phone with low monthly costs on contract maybe. It's not sluggish at all. It's quite fast. I would say it's much better than most of the current Android offerings in the mid-range segment because it's really fast. It's quite refreshing from a mid-range point of view. So it probably should do pretty well. I would imagine the 710 does better than the Lumia 800. In spite of all the marketing that Nokia is doing for the 800. Alright, so the Nokia Lumia 710 might not be as nice as the Nokia Lumia 800, but it is still perfectly pitched towards its target audience in my opinion. It's a really nice little phone, it's really fast, and it does everything that you want it to do, and at its price segment I think it's a really refreshing alternative to what you get right now. The camera is pretty good and the build quality is fantastic. The speaker is nice and loud and clear. The only negative thing that I can think of is that the screen possibly is not as nice as it could be. It's still pretty good though. Also worth noting are the Nokia specific applications like Nokia Drive and Nokia Music, which should be right over here. There's also Nokia Maps. Nokia Music is now on this unit unfortunately because it's an Indian unit, but you can possibly download it depending on where you are at. It's a regional specific application, so it's not available on the Indian Lumia 710 yet as far as I know. But yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, do let us know in the comment section below. But for a more detailed look at the Nokia Lumia 710, do check out unleashthephones.com.